morning, Sri Lanka. And we were in discussion before the break with Azad Maulana as well as Adrian De Silva. Now they are here representing the modeling and fashion industry in Sri Lanka, especially for males. And Azad, before we went into the break, we were speaking about the different style categories that we've seen coming up in Sri Lanka and how the style in Colombo and the suburbs have evolved to such a large extent.
I mean, yes, if you look at the men as an example, I always use men because women are always in the scene and men are always kind of left out. So this is a good time to bring it up. You see all these different categories of styles that men have adapted, and you see them all over the city, and it's nice to see it because there's diversity within it. So men are experimenting with the different styles that are out there. So you see men who are more sort of, what's the word I would use?
Some are bohemian, maybe.
Slightly bohemian. There are the bohemian men. You see them with dreadlocks, and they love their style. They're very relaxed, at ease. And then you get the men who are a little bit more chicer, who like sleek pants, and they're like on pressed shirts. And then you get the more
preppy, maybe. Preppy.
There you go.
Yeah.
You get the preppy.
Yes.
And then obviously you get the majority of them are the conservatively dressed men. But it is changing, I think.
So if you are, let's say there is someone out there who is in the business of looking good.
Yes.
And their company, the business, the organization depends on presenting yourself well groomed and looking good. What happens if someone who is a major part of that company, they get older?
Yeah.
And how do you adapt your style with age?
I think you can. It's just it's how you sort of perceive yourself as you grow older. I would say if I take myself for an example, my sense of style has always been very subtle. But as you grow older, your sense of style does change a little bit, but it just tweaked a little bit, not too much. But you still retain the quality of it.
Yeah. And your own sense of style.
Yes. You would not go into loud colors. You would wear sensible things, age appropriate. And I think it's important to do that, and not sort of try to hold on to youth, as I would say.
But if you bring that question to you, Adrian, now you're a model.
Yeah.
With age, do you think you could always, keep pursuing modeling career, or is that just a specific time
I think
you could always be at your peak?
Yeah, generally it starts from age of like 20 to age of 35 in generally international standards. So still if you have a chance of looking young or looking up to the standard, being fit, that's all what matters. It's not about the age tag.
Right.
It's not bad, but yes, the international standards, that's what it says.
Right. So let's say hypothetically Adrian turns 69 tomorrow. What does Adrian see himself doing?
Really?
What do people see themselves doing at 69?
69.
I'm not even because he said something about being, all the way to 40, around 35. But I just wanted to put you at extreme age.
I think I wouldn't be living for that long. All that matters, and I would like, as a person, as an individual, I like to think of here and now, this moment. So actually, life will keep flowing, and we will have to adapt. We will have to move on. We all grow old. We all have to leave. So I think
live while you can.
Live while you can.
Right. Another thing, I've noticed a lot of male models on ramps, they do not have body hair. Why? Do you have to take it off? I don't know how you do it. Do you take it off? Or
Yeah, you said that before. So
yeah, waxing. It depends. Like basically, some prefer not to. It's not a must.
It's not a must. Okay.
But in general, as this, whatever suits best for you. I think there is a standard, but you can vary that. You can work with that. So I think most of us, as we learn, so we have to match that standard, and we all try to. Some people will for example, some people will look good with facial hair than without facial hair. So I think they should stick to that. Every model has their individual bit of taste into whatever they work for, and also then the brands will also add. That's what happens.
So Azad, I have a question for you. What do you think of the rubber slipper culture in Sri Lanka?
Amazingly comfortable.
And you're part of it, I'm guessing. Oh, brilliant.
Right, because
the club.
it really caught on in the last few
Yeah.
years, hasn't it?
I think it's
myriad
mainly,
colours.
yeah, it's mainly because we are a tropical country, and it's easier for us to sort of live in slippers. I mean, people, sort of come Friday, come Saturday, everybody's in slippers, and I think it's a nice thing. And I think people have to be thankful because we're not in the cold, like most of the year, as in the West.
Yeah.
We are in a tropical country where we're like in slippers all through the year, which is a great
Do
thing.
you ever think that we would ever wear slippers to like maybe a tuxedo party? Wearing tuxedos?
I would not think so.
No.
Like fashion actually evolves into that. I got a wild imagination.
You had
On
something
that
to say?
note, like fashion also limits, because in our country, like we, especially about the seasons and all that,
Right.
we don't have seasons.
We don't.
So we really don't have the choice of wearing leather big boots or like leather jackets. Those are fashion, like moving. And if you do that, we should also know to know the background from where it comes from. Like if you do that, obviously people are gonna be judgmental on you, and it's gonna be a
If you
bad-
walk down the streets of Sri Lanka in a leather
with
jacket.
a big coat and all.
No, I think I've seen people in leather in this country,
Yes.
which is kind of.
So have I.
I thought, well, I mean, whatever works.
Whatever works for you, good on you. Go out there and be somebody.
And I think it's. I think for some people, it's just to make a statement,
right.
and that's great because people didn't do that in the past. People didn't make statements. People are making statements now, using fashion as a platform, which is great. And I think in the future people will make further statements, more radical ones. I think they will.
Right. Where do you see Sri Lankan fashion in another 5 years?
That's a little too close, don't you think?
It's
Maybe
changing.
10,
I
15
mean,
years.
Okay,
just
10 years
yesterday,
then.
I
Yeah.
just realized that I was looking at pictures because I used to wear these shirts, right? And I looked at a couple of pictures of my dad. He's wearing the same exact style of shirt. And I was like, dude, that's a 70s sort of thing coming back.
Yeah.
So it's evolving like really fast. This was this year.
Fashion is always it's a circle. It always goes around.
Right.
I mean, 10 years ago we didn't have a fashion week.
Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't have male models who work constantly. We did have male models who ushered female models around. You know what I'm saying? On stage, there were accompaniments, there were accessories, so to say. Male models are now, they've got their own space, which is great, which is really great. I think that itself is a big step for the country. We've come a long way from where we were before. We still have to go further, but we're getting there. Right. We're a little slow, but we're getting there.
Do you think there's scope in Sri Lanka for more people to get into this field of fashion styling? And is there space for a lot of people, or is it a limited
I think
field?
it's not really limiting. I think more brands need to recognize that a fashion stylist is important. The prominence of a fashion stylist at a shoot, a show, at a campaign is very, very limiting right now, but it is changing.
It should change.
It is.
All right.
It should, because you need somebody to organize that, because the client or the designer cannot have the entire responsibility, not the pressure of doing the shoot as well.
And also the expertise, because not everyone knows what looks good and what doesn't look good.
What people don't realize is a designer is a designer, a stylist is a stylist. A designer can't be a stylist, and a stylist can't be a designer. At the end of the day, you just need to know how to take that and then translate it.
Right. Quick one.
Yep.
What is the least favorite thing that you like about your job?
Isn't actually.
There's nothing.
No.
What about you, Adrian?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Really?
The favorite thing you like about your job?
Oh, meeting people. meeting all sorts of different people.
That's nice.
It's amazing the sort of people you meet, and every time you do a show, you always meet maybe one or two new models,
Right.
or you meet a new designer, you meet somebody really nice, and thank God I've not met any bad people so far. because I get to work with all the best people who are in the industry. That's nice. I'm sure there are bad people out there, but I've been blessed that I don't have to meet them.
I hope you continue in that way.
Yes, my God, thank God for that. Yeah, but it's superb. It's just it's meeting all these diverse types of people, getting to know their personalities, working with them, having to shout at them at times, which at the end of the day helps them also, because I make sure that they understand how important this is.
Of course.
And making sure they're on time, punctuality, looking after the
Something Sri Lankans are very famous for, punctuality.
It's very important to do that. It's very important, and I think people are learning about how to be with other people now. Being in this industry is the best way to learn. And I think for aspiring models, even for Adrian, it's important to know how to adapt into things, how to meet people, how to speak to people, and
it's about context. A lot about context, the people you meet. One thing, you get to meet a lot of people, a lot of interesting people. I think
fashion is, people perceive fashion to be something very frivolous, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. I mean, designers prepare collections like 6 months ahead. We put things together 6 months ahead for just half an hour, of a show. A lot of work goes into it. I mean, a lot of people might think it's not serious, but it is serious work.
So you're saying preparation, just like everything else, preparation.
Like everything else.
It's even harder, I guess. Like it's just you have one moment to present it all out there, and just that bit you have to make it count.
You have to make sure that you give it out the best way possible. So I think preparation, getting ready is always important for models and designers, brands, etc., etc.
Adrian, now I've seen a lot of women fall on when they're walking down the ramp. Has that ever happened to a man?